Hi, my name is Tanya and welcome to my small backyard vegetable garden here in central Victoria. Now I have the garden beds down the other end cleared and planted up. I am very keen to get these two down this end cleared and at least top dressed so that I can work out what I'm planting here. Which means picking these pumpkins. I did have 3 of the Australian butter that pollinated and grew to full pumpkins. I had some that had started, but they are not going to have enough time to fully mature. And in fact, the Australian butter, I had been disappointed with it only getting 3, and I thought, oh, I'm not sure about these pumpkins. But a couple of days ago, I had ran out of potatoes, so I thought I'd come up and pick one of the Australian butter pumpkins, and I cut it up and roasted it. It was so delicious. I am so happy to be able to pick 3 of these beautiful pumpkins, and after thinking I wasn't going to grow this variety come spring summer, I am definitely going to be growing the Australian butter again. This Jackby little pumpkin was a volunteer. I had planted them in this spot last spring and summer, and one just started growing and they are so beautiful. You can see the color difference. The Australian butter are quite a peachy color and these are very, very orange. I sowed a few lettuce seeds into these pots that had the basil in them, so they are on their way. I just cover them up overnight so the birds don't get into them early in the morning before I get up here to check, and these ones are already germinating. The sweet peas are up and looking fantastic. The garlic is really kicking on now. I can't wait to see this arch full of sweet pea flowers. And all the seedlings are enjoying the beautiful sunny autumn days we're having. Everything's settled in and growing quite fast, which is great because I want them getting a really good grow before the cold weather sets in. Even these ones that had been planted a little later, I've got the turnips here and also some wombok, also the Brussels sprouts, the red Brussels sprouts that I grew from seed. And sweet peas, these are like the other side and are mixed, 3 different mixed colors, and the white hardneck garlic. I also dug up my dahlia tubers, the dark leaved ones, and sowed some cos lettuce in that pot. And the seedlings are looking pretty happy. So I am really, really keen to get these garden beds cleared so I can move on and get things planted. Just removing my watering system. These were the cages that the cucumbers grew on. They performed really well, but unfortunately I will be pulling out all the nasturtiums even though they are growing so nicely now. We've already had 2 light frosts early on, probably a week or so ago. There were just a sneaky couple of early frosts. They hit the banana and the basil, but we haven't had one since. And that is why the nasturtiums are looking pretty healthy. It will be so nice to get this bed all cleared out, all topped up, and then top dressed and mulched, and I will leave it a couple of days before planting anything else in it and give it a good couple of waters. I haven't watered these two beds here since things stopped growing. Picking up all the old cucumbers that had dropped. The vines were so thick that I really couldn't see where they all had got to or where they were growing, but we ate plenty of them, so we didn't miss those few. I've got some autumn tomatoes here. They're just finishing off. So I'll get those picked along with those spring onions, and I'll put them in my wheelbarrow to add to the pumpkins. It's always nice getting some late tomatoes. Just getting this mesh arch cleared off. I'm only going to tackle this side this time, and I have since cleared the other side, but I came out and did that just a little bit each night. All of this can go into the compost. Picking up as much as I can off that wall. Now I'm going to remove all this wool off the top. Some has broken down into the soil with the straw that was underneath it, but I will reuse this all again. It'll be a nice lighter mulch for winter. The garden beds have dropped a lot. These two beds have only had a small top up in late spring before I got summer crops in since they were made, so they haven't done too bad. But I'm going to try and get them filled with what I have. And I am going to start by layering some straw just to take up some of the bulk. I do have cow manure and some mushroom compost. There is a fair distance, and I think I will put some pea straw in there just to bulk that out, and that will help with the soil also. When I filled these beds, I put a thick layer down low of pea straw. Thick biscuits of it went right through, and that is why it has dropped so much. All that pea straw that I originally put in has just broken down and composted. So I'm going to do that just on a smaller scale, just to fill in the bed. I'm going to try and get down some of this dust. We really haven't had enough rain to start the composting process in my pea straw bales. Just trying to contain the dust with the hose. There is still a bit coming off it, but I'll just put a thin layer of this and it will help get the worms up and moving through the soil. They love pea straw breaking down once that moisture is in it. And also with the wool on top, they love to move up to underneath the wool. I'm just spreading that out and breaking that up because this is what I will be planting into. That's why I need to get plenty of moisture into it. Now I've got composted cow manure. The 2 beds the other end, I only put 4 bags, but this time I'm going to put 6 bags across the top. It's interesting to see the different colours of the cow manure in the bags. I'm not quite sure if the lighter is an older bag, but I had the same up the other end also. So this cow manure will water down into the straw. Just get it spread across. I bought a bulk load of mushroom compost for the other end to top dress, and the excess I've just stored in these old wheelie bins. Unfortunately, they're just a bit heavy for me to lift, so I'm going to shovel a little bit out. It's quite difficult getting down. They're so small, the opening, but once I can get it up on that edge and upturn it to get it out makes it so much easier. And I've got another bin as well, doing the same thing, just getting that top bit out so I can lift it. Now I got this all spread out, and I did actually have another wheelie bin of mushroom compost, which I ended up putting on also. I think that once everything is watered down in amongst that lower layer of straw, that it will drop a fair bit. So I had that extra wheelie bin, so I thought I may as well just get that on as well. I will need to get another load for the other bed. And it's such a beautiful time out in the garden tonight. We had a beautiful pink sky, and it was so lovely being out. Got capsicums here in the pots, and they are fruiting and ripening up, and I really don't do too much to these capsicums, so they are thriving on a bit of neglect and they don't seem to mind. These I'm taking in for dinner. I'm just going to put this bit of hessian over these pots so the birds aren't out digging up my lettuce seeds in the morning. And it is that time of year again where you have to be packing up your hoses. I have packed up most of my hoses, and the couple of hoses I do have out, I do keep them protected and cover them up. It is the next afternoon and I am keen to roast up another pumpkin, so I thought I would just cut this one up and show you what it's like inside. Hunter is here thinking that he can eat this, and he is very keen to see what he can taste, but he will be tasting nothing until dinner time. They are a great size little pumpkin. I think I will be maybe growing some of the butternuts as well come spring summer, but I am quite impressed with these. The flesh is so delicious. I normally buy, if I'm buying pumpkin, Jap pumpkins, but this far outweighs them also. They are a nice solid flesh. It's not watery at all.
There's nothing to eat. It's pumpkin. You can't eat that. No, we have to cook it first. We have to cook it first.
Now I made a decision that I will be digging out the capsicums. I will need this net for the garden bed that I am top dressing because I have a lot of brassicas I want to get planted into it. So I'm just biting the bullet and getting these capsicums out. I've rustled up some large terracotta pots that I've had sitting around, and I realized that I'll probably have enough to get 4 plants in each pot. They'll be nice and tightly packed, but as you can see, the root system on these are not big. This is the Mad Hatter, and it's probably got the biggest root system of the ones that I repotted. There is so many fruits on this. It's very prolific. And I thought I may as well just try and pot these up and use the big tubs for maybe planting potatoes or carrots in. And I can move these in the large terracotta pots down onto the gravel pathway at the front of my back veranda. It's very protected down there, and when the frosts do come, I will just move them down the side of my house and they'll stay quite protected and under the eaves. I'm just using up some soil. I pulled some tomatoes out of a big tub that I had, and I've replanted the sumo strawberry into that. I broke it up into multiple plants and planted it into there. And I'm just moving around different soils because I had some of the rose soil, so I put that in the tank for the strawberries. There's lots of fruit on this one. This is a candy cane, and one of them is coloring up. You can eat these at any stage. I have been picking them. The variegated plant is the candy cane, but it is the brown coloured one, whereas this is the red and green. Pulling the nasturtiums out of here also. There is one of the red and green. They're a decent sized fruit. I just cut up multiples and put in the cooking, and they are quite tasty. But I can't get over how pretty this bush is. It really reminds me of an indoor plant. It's very pretty to look at. I'm just trimming them back because they will go into shock. It's very difficult to dig them out and have a big clump of soil around their root system. In these tubs is potting mix. Even though the potting mix has had lots of manure and mushroom compost and things added to it, it still falls away from the root system. Just going to try and have these stay upright while I position and build the soil up. Because that root system is not big, so they're not holding themselves up. Nothing a couple of bamboo stakes won't solve, and that way I can position them and I'm just going to use up any of the potting mix that I have. I've got a little bit here in a bag. I'm going to put a couple of scoops out of the big tubs in them. I have to get some more bags of potting mix before I move on to the next one, but I absolutely love the look of them in these big pots. This was just a bit more potting mix and it had some manure in it. And really, I think if they had a saucer underneath them, they would survive absolutely fine in these big pots. Now I'm just going to gather up all of the branches that I cut off. I'm wondering if the fruit will keep better left on the branches or when I take them inside. Either way, they can hang underneath the veranda until I have time to cut them all off. These little baubles remind me of Christmas decorations. There's still so many fruit still coming on because we've had such beautiful warm weather. I think the eggplants are at the end and this soil is really quite good. I'll just top dress it with some manure. These beautiful capsicums here. I won't be wasting any of them, and this one is the delight. It is such a gorgeous lime green color. And my trolley is my best friend. It helps me move all these big pots around all the time. And as you can see, I have top dressed with my usual, mulched another thick layer of pea straw, set up the watering system and gave it a real good water in. Now I'm just going to hang these up here. It is quite late and I really need to get inside, but they are looking absolutely beautiful.